Thoughts of a Common Man is about we or us, not them or they, but we, the common people of this world. And we want to be able to go out nationwide, and we want you to help us with that. I saw Miles Davis when I was very, very young, and one of the things he did when he played his music was he had a projection, he had a communication, and he also had a message. As weird as he was, it got out to the point where it made people, when you heard his music, you can close your eyes and you can sit there and you can listen to the mastery of this man communicate the music, and it made your whole inside shudder because of his greatness and the fact that he was a gifted person. And this is something that we want to do with Thoughts of a Common Man right here at Radio Valencia. We want to be able to get out, we want to be able to communicate, we want to be able to train, to teach, and to help people in life. We are the link, and I think we are the only link. You know, I hear all these religious programs that, you know, they're religion, yes, but everybody's not into religion, but we are into each other as human beings. One of the things I saw the other day was it was raining real hard, and I stopped my car, and I was going to get out and help this lady. She was trying to get in her car and get her wheelchair into her car, you know, and I was getting ready to run over there, and two guys came. One guy opened the door, one guy pulled the ramp down, and they got her in there. You know, she was getting into one of those Chrysler minivans, and that made me feel good. I don't know these guys' name, but it happened right there on the corner of Telegraph and 37th, I think it was, right there by the Colonels, right past Grand. I was so amazed and I was so heartfelt that, you know, I felt like, oh God, this is good. This is what we are. We are common people. We're everyday people. And we should communicate. We should talk to each other. We should have dialogue. You know? And again, we should not have psychological aggression against each other. This is my message to you, the public. Shout out to Elder Joe and Judy McCoy in Nashville, Tennessee. They're icons of who people are, and they're helping people every day. Elder McCoy is in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he helps everybody. Bishop Bob Jackson in Oakland is another one, you know, who goes out for people, you know. And I want you to give him a shout out, Bishop Bob Jackson, you know, and Bishop Sean over on, what's that, 37th and Market. Give him a shout out. I mean, these are people in the community that are really making a difference. You can make a difference. I can make a difference. We just want to be able to be brotherly and have some kind of continuity. We want to be able to actually get out and say we did something for a person today. And since Christmas is coming out, I want everybody out there to pick a child who does not have and give something to him. A neighbor, a friend, an associate, or something. If you're doing better than they are, I want you to pick a toy and give it to them. Whenever you feel like you should give it to them, Christmas Day, whatever. But, you know, make somebody feel good. Make somebody. We're Americans. We are Americans. The race and all this stuff comes second, but we are Americans, and we're supposed to stick together. You know, I am not an African American. I'm an American of African descendant, with Mexican blood, Indian blood, white blood, all of it, baby. I got to make you laugh. I was working at a facility not too long ago where they do genetic testing, And I was talking to one of the senior research fellows, and he said to me, he says, if a lot of them good old boys in the South knew where their origin was, then I don't think they'd be out there yelling and screaming and wearing sheets and hoods and stuff like that and burning crosses. One of the things that I grew up in the South, and one of the things that I realized that the South is still the South. You know, it's evolving slowly, yes. But you know what? Mammies, surrogate mothers, you know, of color, bore a lot of people who think they're white. And when you go back there and you look at that DNA and it says you got sub-Saharan blood in you, and you're looking at yourself like you're blue-eyed and blonde hair, I mean, but you got that sub-Saharan blood, baby, you're it. You're it. I don't want to call you a coon, but you know, you can call it anything you want. You know, you're it. And people don't want to be it, or them, or they, or us. Everybody want to be something else. One of the things that a friend of mine, Hispanic, real good friend of mine, Ignacio, he said to me the other day, Chalito, he said, you notice all the blonde chickies they have on television? Blonde is beautiful. What about the rest of us? I said, well, we're beautiful too. And I want you to understand that, you know what, the way society is structured and the way all this stuff is coming down, think of yourself as the best. Think of yourself as the best. You are the best. And you can do anything you want to do. Have that dignity, have that self-respect, and have that level of confidence. I'm watching television the other day, and I see law classes with young men of color, Mexican American, Black Americans, you know, they're all dressed in suits, they're graduating, they're lawyers, they're doctors. I mean, this is what we want to see. This is what we are born to see. Everybody's not born to live in poverty, because if you really want to get out of poverty, you know, you can do it. And you know, there was a young lady that I met on BART a few years ago. She told me don't mention her name no more, and she caught me one day. But she was on welfare, sitting there with a do-rag on her head, going to work as a laborer on a construction site in the city. And I mean, just attitude was out the door. And I sit there, and she sat next to me, and she did it 3 days in a row. I'm going, why me? What's the thing here? So one day we started talking, and I said, why don't you get rid of the do-rag, get you a hard hat, you know, kind of look like everybody else. I said, go someplace and get you some steel-toe shoes, because, you know, safety is paramount out there. She looked at me like she could, you know, like if looks could kill, I would be dead and gone. And finally she said one day, about a month later, she walked up to me. She said, I saw you on Facebook, Chief Williams. She said, I saw you running for mayor, Chief Williams. She said, I see you talking to people about all this stuff. And she kept calling me the chief. And I said, yes, baby, what's up? And what are you saying? She said, I can do it. She said, I can do it. That was 5 years ago. Okay. That was 4 years ago, actually. And you know what? Right now, she's making $80,000 a year. I will tell you, her first name is Shanika. You know, if you watch the transition of a human being to the beauty and the level that she is, and her 3 kids right now, they're living, 2 of them in private schools, 1 of them is in daycare. And you know, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about thoughts of a common man. We're talking about common people right here on Radio Valencia. We're bringing stuff to you that is meat and bones, you know, stuff that is just good for you. And we want to tell you, we love you again. Shanika, congratulations, baby. I came up with something that said, the whole world is a stage, and everybody's playing the part. I forget the rest of it. Da 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 da. The move is a something heart. You know, we live that. The whole world is a stage, and become a major player of it. You know, and I want you to realize that I was also looking at stuff on Facebook the other day about what I was talking about college graduates. There is a system out there. If you want to be in that system, if you fight hard enough, you can come out and be on the world stage itself. Bless you, baby. Maybe I can give her some Jack Daniels and Epicac. Oh, that's the wrong thing, isn't it? No, okay. All right. You don't want me to doctor on it. But anyway, I'm looking at the fact that we're all here on the world stage and we're trying to make things happen. The whole world is a stage, and everybody should play their part. Get yourself educated. Get yourself out there and be counted. Get rid of the anger and the frustration, because that's what holds you back. You want to be out there, you want to love everybody. You can't love everybody, but you know what? You can love certain people. You know, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Because you know what? That's what we're all about. We are Americans again. We're out here. And you know what? One of the things that came up over the weekend, past 2 weekends ago actually, was gentrification. It's happening. So in order not to get caught up in all this stuff, you know, I say, get yourself an education. One of the things that I want to say that a lot of people get angry at me when I say it, it's about your priorities. What do you want to do? Be seen today with Michael Jordans you can't really afford, $300 Levi's you can't afford. I mean, what do you want? Or do you want an education that will buy you hundreds of these things over a period of time, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and the next day? We want you to be able to have a term in life, tenure, I guess you could say, or something like that, that long term. We want you to be able to live and enjoy a long span in life, and just focusing on junk. Hoopties with big wheels that don't mean nothing, that can't pass smog. I mean, education is the key to your life. And I'm going to drill this in you because people say to me, well, Chief, you know, you're talking that stuff again. Uh-huh. Damn right, I'm talking that stuff again. Because this is where it is. We're talking about thoughts of a common man. I'm a common man. I'm an everyday guy. But I have lived over a lot of this world, and I was astounded at the fact that there are people in this Bay Area who've never been across the Bay Bridge. They've never gone across the Golden Gate Bridge. And I'm sitting there saying, how can this happen? People have retreated, I guess you can say, back into ghetto America, and they've taken on a different language, a different way of life, a different attitude, And it's very small thinking that keeps you this way. Again, get out, do your thing, understand people, acclimate yourself. One of the things is I'm going to make a lot of people mad when I say this, running around with nappy hair is not your heritage, because it didn't happen like that. What has happened is society has twisted history so bad that it does not even look like history anymore. When I was in my grandmother's basement, when I was 7 years old, she had a Louisiana, I saw pictures of slavery. She had books and books and books and books and books and books of slavery. The good and the bad about slavery. People groomed themselves, they acclimated themselves into society, they were very successful. If you go to the Black Museum at 695 14th Street in Oakland, and go in there and just take a turn around and see how we have twisted what we are supposed to be, who we are, and we have twisted it into something that's unreal. We don't clean ourselves up anymore. Young men are walking around with guns, thinking that a gun is power rather than education. They're walking around with this mental attitude, again, psychologically aggressive. It can't work. It cannot work. It will not work. Believe it or not, in my research for some of the stuff I was writing about, I found out that this is what a certain echelon of society wants. Because when Bill Clinton brought in 3 strikes in 1994, there are still people in jail by the thousands. By the thousands. By the thousands. Who are there for petty stuff. I saw one case where a man was hungry and he was eating food at the market store, and he was arrested, and this judge gave him 10 years for eating food. He was happy to go to jail, but he wasn't happy to be incarcerated. You see, there are thousands of people who the 3 strikes law just got caught up in there, and they're still in jail. Thousands. And this is what has made the prison system so successful right now, is 3 strikes. Educate yourself. Get yourself together. Think more of yourself. Give yourself some pride and dignity, and more so, give yourself some hope. Because without hope, there's nothing. And like I said, I hear all these religious things talk about the Bible, but I say it should start with you and I. If it start with you and I, then we can do some hefty damage and do some things here that we can really make work. Thoughts of a common man. And I'm going to tell you, Miss Anika Allen is out there. Anika is an example of a person who is very energetic, beautiful woman, gorgeous woman, and she's educated herself, and she's moving up into the world, and she's doing things, and she's doing it on a basis that will give her a feedback for the rest of her life. This is what I'm talking about. I would sing to you, but they don't want me to sing. They do not want me to sing. We're going to talk about cars a little bit. Women and cars. Women and cars. I want you to look at something. I was talking to a lady, and she was talking about how she had gotten ripped off. She went in, her car was 2 quart, transmission was 2 quarts low on transmission fluid in a small car. So the car wouldn't move. So she took it into this shop, and they sold her what she thought was a new transmission. They took her transmission out, cleaned it up, painted it, and put a new filter in it, and put it right back in the car, and charged her $2,000. This is what I'm talking about, women in cars. The biggest thing that you could do is find yourself an independent and walk around and talk to people, interview these people, see what their prices are, look at their shops. If their shops are dirty and unkept and all nasty, you know that ain't where you want to be, because he's going to get you. He's going to rip you off. But get out there and open your mind up. Save yourself some money, because independents are the way to go right now. The dealerships are just killing people with them in their pockets. They're ripping people off right and left. I want you to get out there and find yourself a good independent. And I'm going to say something I don't normally recommend anybody, but if you live in the Bay Area, First Choice Auto, 4101 Martin Luther King, these guys are really good. They're on Yelp. There's several others out there, but this is the one that I know. They're really efficient. They're good. First Choice Auto, 4101 Martin Luther King in Oakland, California. You know, get out there and find yourself a good, independent automobile repairman, and it will astound you at the amount of money that you will save. As a matter of fact, you see the independents of servicing Mercedes and BMWs and all the Highline cars. They're going to Mercedes-Benz. I mean, not going to Mercedes-Benz. They're going to the independent shops, because this is where they're like, some of them are like 2/3 less than the dealerships. You know, that's a lot of money. And if you're a single mother and you're out there with children, or if you're an older person, a senior citizen, you know, that's a good thing. The other thing is, I want to say, is I have to laugh at the brothers out there with their pants sagging. God knows, some of them need to change their underwear. That stuff looks like they've been wearing it for weeks. Now, an underwear is supposed to be for sanitation. Now, who wants to go behind somebody sitting on the bench and he's sitting in his underwear with his pants down around his ankles almost? Ban the sag, I call it. Ban the sag. Clean them up, raise them up. If you raise your pants and you raise your mind, you can go places. But in restaurants throughout the country, they're banning the sag. And I want you to get on the bandwagon with that, because it's not sanitary and it's just not decent looking. And it says a lot that, you know, that's a prison mentality.
And no decent woman's gonna be with someone looking like that.
And no decent woman is gonna be looking with a jigaboo with his pants down his ankles. Indigenous brothers out there, we support you. Indigenous brothers, we support you. When I see stuff like this, it almost brings me to tears. So I'm going to get it off my Facebook page right now. I'm going to get away from it. Because to see people beat and maimed and maced, and then when they're talking about America, it just really ticks me off inside. You know, it really just gets on me, you know, and I just get angry inside at the hypocrisy of which parts of our government, you know. And I'm going to say this, a lot of our government is corrupt. It's no longer representing the people. It's an abomination to who the hell we are. You know what? And it's totally self-destructive, and it's for the rich. We need to get off our butts and get out there and fight. We need to fight hard. We don't need this stuff. You know, people shoving us back in corners and stuff like this. We need to get out there and fight, folks. Support the indigenous people in the Dakotas. Yeah. Oof. I'm getting emotional on you. Anyway, yeah, let me get it together. That really pissed me off, folks. I'm mad. Dadgummit. We are supposed to be a nation. We're supposed to, again, love each other. And the government is crap in my book sometimes. Their hypocrisy is just so big and so bad. You know, and yet they sit up there and talking about, oh, I represent you, the people. The hell if they do. They're representing the dollar in their pocket. You know, I just want to say that, and I'm going to get away from it because I'm really angry inside. We're looking at some stuff here this year. I want you to be able to call me. We're going to be setting up a hotline again like we did years ago when I was at the other station. We're going to be setting up a line of communication. And we're going to be talking to each other. We're going to be loving each other. We're going to get out there and we're going to make this Thoughts of a Common Man at Valencia Radio Valencia. We're going to make it a big thing. Yeah, we are. We're going to do the do, as they say. Mr. Al Manning in Oakland, California. We're going to do the do, Al. Big Al. Ezekiel Harris, Richmond. We're going to do the do. Yep, we're going to be out there. Yes, we are. We want everybody, again, to get out there and vote. Because I am so pissed off right now. I am angry about what I see in this country. I'm so mad. Let me get off that tangent. Because God knows we're all supposed to be created equal. You know, I look at Black Lives Matter. How about all lives matter? Every damn one of us matter. That's the way I feel about it. Every one of us matter. No matter what color, shape, size you are, we all should matter. You know, so black people, stop killing each other. Educate yourself. Get out of the ghetto. Fight back the system that's destroying and suppressing you. Between your suppression and your own suppression and the system suppression, you'll never be anything. But you got to get back there and fight. Everything is beautiful when we start out in life, and it gets convoluted. We want to keep it beautiful. We want to do what we're supposed to do. I had this thing the other day. You know, I had this thing the other day with a lady, and she was talking to me about Louisiana. There is a lot of people with heritage from Louisiana right here in the San Francisco Bay Area. She was saying that maybe we ought to pick some place and have a Louisiana party. I mean, where would you find something that big to have a Louisiana party? If you think that's a good idea, go on Facebook, Facebook me, email me, mmcrw40 at gmail.com. Get a hold of me. We're going to talk about a Louisiana party. Now, this thing probably have to go in 4 or 5 stages. That must be around 1 million people here in Louisiana, from Louisiana in the Bay Area. Houma, you know, Grand Coteau, Moreville, Rayville, Delhi, you know, Clutcheville. Would you believe that? Clutcheville. I mean, all those little places, you know, Mangrum, you know, Amite down on the coast. You want to have a party, you know what? We want to do it in conjunction with Thoughts of a Common Man on Valencia Radio. We want to hook this thing up and get it started. I want you to get the word out that, hey, we're out here to do this and we're going to see how far it goes. And we want to get you involved and get things going. Okay? one of the things is I'll tell you something, that the more we get together, the more we get to love each other, the more we get to know each other, the better life will be. Valencia Radio, Radio Valencia, thoughts of a common man. Dang it, I love this stuff. You know, I really love this. We're here from 10 to 12 on Tuesdays. And we're going to bring you some good stuff. And like Gina was saying, my producer, my manager, my whip cracker, we're going to be doing some good stuff.
Yeah, we have some wonderful guests coming up for the next few weeks. So you won't just hear the Chief talking alone. We'll have some guests. Our beautiful co-host Eyes will come in and co-host when she's not being the lovely songstress she is. And we'll also be happy to share a Christmas event coming up. We think it's a little early to mention it, but we want you to look out for it. It'll be on December 20th. But yes, there'll be some wonderful guests and topics. And if you go on www.thoughtsofacommonman.net, you can tweet me and talk about topics that you like to hear. And we welcome all feedback and input. What do you think about that, Chief?
I think that's trasdacious. I think that's magnificent. We want to talk to you. We want your feedback. We want your input. We want everything. And again, we want to get out here and we want to make sure that you take the time to tell somebody that we're here at Radio Valencia. Woo, baby, make me feel like I got chills in my bones, honey.
But it's a different feel here in San Francisco than out in Alameda. And we've moved a couple of times. We started out in Oakland, then we're in Alameda. That was with a different station. Now we're here with Radio Valencia.
Ain't this a bomb, baby? This is good stuff. I can say what I want to say. I don't have to be censored.
Yeah, you do.
Well, you know, within reason. Now, I got to say something to you. You going to let me sing a song one of these days on the radio?
Oh, no. No, maybe we'll get Faye Carroll back in here before her Christmas shows and she can do a little coaching. But before that,
you want Faye Carroll to coach me?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to sound like Arthur Prysodd or Joe Weems or somebody like that, right? That's what she going to do. I'm going to be singing to be Chiefy.
No.
No?
No.
No? Oh, dang it.
But I'm looking forward to hearing talking to Lee Sosa next week.
Faye Carroll is an icon of the Bay Area. You want to hear somebody who got it together? Faye Carroll has it together.
And if you weren't listening to us on the old station, you can check out that interview on our YouTube channel. Just go again to www.thoughtsofaCommonman.net and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And all the shows from when we were on that other station, you can enjoy them and see all the great guests we had.
And you know what? Heaven on earth is full of your glory, or something like that. But you know what? We're going to be here blasting, and I really like it. I love it over here in San Francisco. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at Mission Street right now and all the camaraderie, and I'm starting to smell the food already, so I'm getting hungry already. I mean, this place has got, if you want a diet, forget it when you come down Mission Street. Yeah. Just forget about your diet.
You can smell food come out of every other door.
Oh, food is out every door. And this reminds me of the 40s and the 50s, you know, when I lived in different cities, you know, and it reminds me of Dallas, Texas, when I was like 16, 17 years old, hitchhiking. Let me tell you a little bit about that. You know, I always tell people, when I was 16, I got away from the gangland killings in LA because I really didn't want to be in no gang. You know, and we had come from Louisiana to live in LA, in East LA of all places, you know. La Raza, the ghetto, the barrio, you know, we lived up there. And one day I was so disturbed about what I had seen a person get killed. I decided I didn't want to be around there for the summertime. So I went down to the train yard in LA, and I was trying to figure out where the train goes, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was trying to figure out what the ride and I ran into this old guy. He told me, don't get in the cars where they can close the door. I said, well, okay, where do you go? He said, I don't know. He said, but you're skinny. He said, so you can ride the bottom of the rock cars. The rock cars are cars that dump rocks on tracks. Bottom dump cars that haul the rocks that cover the tracks. And I'm sitting here going, God, this man's got to be crazy. So he says, okay, I'm going to show you how to do it. So we go over to the corner over there with the yard, and where there was a bunch of cars parked. And I get underneath this thing, and there's a little bitty shelf about 20 inches, maybe 22 inches, not quite 2 feet. That's the bottom of the dump. It's the stop for where the dumps were. And he said, when you get underneath there, ain't nobody can see you. But do your business before you get underneath there, because sometimes it's a long time before you stop. And I'm going, yeah, right. Well, I jumped on this car, and the train hooked up, and I hooked my belt on the airline to keep from getting sucked out onto the track when the train starts running at 70 and 80 miles an hour. And I took a deep breath and I said, what the hell I got myself into now? That thing was booking. And the faster the train went, the more you become, gravity was less and less and less. I end up in Sedona, Arizona, in a small rail yard when the train finally stopped. I got on this thing at about 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. It was that evening, about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I looked out and I saw horses and I saw people running, and I said, ooh, maybe it's the time for me to run. So I unhooked and got my little knapsack and my little backpack thing, and I took off running like everybody else. And they were talking about the bulls, the B-U-L-L-S. These were the train police. They carried these big old long sticks they'd beat the daylights out of you with. And they were very brutal and they were ruthless. So I said to myself, well, let me keep on running. Well, I was young and skinny, 155 pounds, 160 pounds at the most. I was booking, and I got outside the train yard and I was wondering where I was going to eat. And the guy said to me, there's food all over the place. I said, really? He said, you just got to wait a while. So we went behind the restaurants and see who was dumping food out at 8, 9, and 10 o'clock at night. And let me tell you something. I learned that trick all across the country. Wherever I went, I would find the nice restaurants, and at night when they dumped their food, I was there to eat. And people said, well, oh, that was so gross. It was good. I had some of the best gourmet food, Mexican food, whatever you want to call it. I had some of the fried chicken from the markets in the South. Oh my God, the best fried chicken you ever want to see, And they just put it out. But I did that for a whole year, from coast to coast and border to border. I hitchhiked this country, and I learned a lot about people. And here I am today, trying to telegraph or communicate that dignity and that saying and the way that is to you. What I've learned throughout my lifetime is to love people and to enjoy people and have a good time with people. There were times when things got testy. Jackson Hole, ain't never seen a black person. They were jumping on the fence to look at me. People were rubbing me, and a man came up to me and he said, well, before they hang you, you better get out of here. I said, hang me for what? He said, well, you don't belong here. So I was on the road. It was about 3:30 in the morning. I hid that night. I was hiding in bushes and stuff like that. And about 3:30, quarter to 4 in the morning, a truck picked me up. And believe it or not, that man taught me to drive his truck. I drove that truck for over a month, just going wherever he went. Then when I didn't see him, I'd meet him someplace, meet up with him and drive the truck some more. But I had a good time. You can't do that anymore. But my point is that there are people in this world who still have some heart and some dignity and some care, and they have somewhat of love for each other. One of the people that I want to tell you, her, I forget her name, I met her this weekend, and if you ever hear about people and caregivers, caregivers are special people. Caregivers sacrifice. And I'm going to get her name by the next time I come on the air, because she was giving a speech about how caregivers end up in worse condition than the people that they're caring for. This is a phenomenon that has never been brought to the open public, but she wrote about it. She wrote about the thousands and thousands of people who end up crippled, who end up ill, who end up in depression when somebody they care for passes or dies, however you want to put it, or somebody who just goes into Alzheimer's or dementia. When people care for people like that, it takes a toll on the caregiver themselves. This is real love. When you see people out there that are giving this type of care to another human being, buy them a cup of coffee, do something. I hope you have enjoyed this. We're running out of time right now. And I hope that we're going to bring you a platform that will make you think, make you act, and make you feel good. Not just about yourself, but about your surroundings and the people that are surrounding you.
Yeah, be sure to tune in next week when we have Lou Sosa as a guest.
Yes, we're going to have Lou Sosa next week.
And he's from the Heart of the Mission with Meta and the Mission Techie program.
And you know what? They take old computers, clean them up.
No.
That's the wrong guy?
Well, they do some of that. But we do have another person from OTX West that does that as well.
Oh, I got the wrong guy then. Yeah.
But
Oh, I remember Lou Sosa. Yeah. I just had one of those senior moments, where the brain takes gets the wind, we'll call it, okay?
Yeah. But a lot of these people that Lou Sosa's worked with have gone on to acquire some very high-tech jobs down in Silicon Valley. And a year ago, they might have been 1 foot in the prison and 1 foot in the grave, but now they made something of themselves. So it's going to be very inspiring to hear him talk, to hear about all he's doing, and how the community is just, supplying him the resources to keep it going and keep helping them people.
This is what we've been talking about all day. People loving people, people supporting people, and people doing anything. And remember one thing, you can do any doggone thing you want to do if you want to do it bad enough. And you don't have to live down. Just one little tiny bit of effort a day becomes into fruition of being something great. One thing I want to look at you and say to you in your eye, we're here to do it for you. And we want to give another shout out to somebody, Kelly Carlisle, Act the Nonverbal. She has a garden in East Oakland.
An urban garden.
Urban garden. What's the difference in that and a regular garden?
This one is part of the community.
Oh.
And the community helps to keep it going. That produce that is grown there is actually sold at a farmer's market, and it just gives back in so many ways.
Some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some really good stuff. I think she's on 83rd or 85th and something. Just look her up on Facebook. But I was blown away at the size of the place. And I really didn't like the fact that the community was not giving her enough support, because this is a place where you can take your children to show your children how to grow stuff, because inner city kids have no idea how to grow a plant.
Yeah. This woman is a Jefferson Award winner, and she's making stuff happen for not just the garden, but the children in that area, everything.
Life.
Mm-hmm.
Plants grow life. And I want you to keep that in mind. And I want you to think, the gents of Oakland, these guys are around there You know, they're doing the best in Oakland. They're doing some good stuff. And hey, how about them Oakland Raiders? I had to put that in there. Oakland Raiders. They're looking so good.
Hopefully they keep it up.